Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. I'm Karen Chaston, and as always, we're going to deep dive into how you can move beyond loss, any kind of loss. And there are over 40 different kinds of losses that can affect all of our lives. And it's quite incredible when you start to realize just how many loss events there are. But as always, please let me know where you're from. It's always great to be here on this channel, being able to share with you my experiences and, more importantly, the way that you can move beyond any kind of loss. And today I'm going to deep dive into my 5-step process, which is called the gift of loss, believe it or not. But as always, let me know where you're from so that I can, really get into it. It's really great to always know where everyone is from, what you're sharing with me and everything like that. So before we start, I am going to, hi Maria from Sydney, reaching out to you earlier this year, actually from the 23rd of June to the 8th of August, I was in Sydney. And I can feel what you're going through, though obviously, okay, what's happening? For some reason, my camera has gone off. Okay, well, this is exciting, isn't it? Right, it just for some reason I lost connection to my camera. Right, this is what we love, isn't it? But let me start it again and see what happens. There you are. I'm back. Don't you just love technology? Yes, I am live. Can't you tell by that? Anyway, it's all good. So as always, I'm going to start with picking a card, which I picked just before I came on, for the Channeled Spiritual Guidance Cards by Marcia Quinton. And today I picked this beautiful card. Now, I put my scarf on before I picked this card, and I thought, that's interesting. Very colourful, just like my scarf is. It's number 40, and it's called the Rainbow Warrior, and it looks like the Rainbow Warrior, doesn't it? It's absolutely a beautiful card. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you here. Where are you from? Let us know. So the Rainbow Warrior, what is this card all about? Now, this card is for me. I haven't read what it's about, not today anyway. It's for everyone listening live and everyone listening later on. So the Rainbow Warrior. The Rainbow Warrior is the cosmic conscious warrior and will help you with his energy and light. He will heal the wounds of the past with his energy. This powerful rainbow warrior carries the power of the universe. He has opened the realms of healing for you today. So pour forth all that is within that darkens your spirit and allow his magic to flow into your soul. His gift is to bring balance into your life. He will only seek this when you are well settled and ready to serve and heal others. Through your conscious mind, draw the connection and allow it to awaken the powerful healer within. This strong connection through your conscious mind opens the channel for the ribbons of colour to pour through to those who are in need. Oh my God, isn't that beautiful? Let me know what you think about that card. So hi Maxine, hi Lisa from New Jersey. Woohoo! All the way from the States. How exciting. Nice. Yeah, Linda, great. I'm glad you're in Brisbane. Originally Melbourne, moved due to lockdowns. I don't blame you. I'm on the Gold Coast, but I've lived half my life in Sydney and half my life on the Gold Coast. And I moved back to the Gold Coast in 2019 after being 15 years in Sydney. So I was like 19 years in Sydney, then 26 years in Sydney, in Gold Coast, and then back to Sydney for 15, and now back on the Gold Coast. And I totally understand where you're coming from. I was so glad I was living here. Linda, stuck at home with 2 broken toes. Okay, I'm going to run with that. Just wait a sec. Has everyone seen this book? Because I'm going to go with the fact that you've posted 2 broken toes, right? We're going to go with this because it's really, really quite interesting. What's going on here? Why have I got a bit of dark shadows happening. Anyway, right. I'm not really sure what's going on. That's really interesting. I didn't have those dark shadows. Oh, it's only when I hold this up. Okay. So here's the book, but I'm going to look up toes. Which toes are they, Linda? Can you type it in? This book is the Louise Hay updated version of How You Can Heal Your Life. It's not written by Louise Hayes. It's written by Ina Segal. And I have to tell you, it is the most amazing book. Really, really, anything that happens in your body, anything that happens in your life to your body, deep dive into this book. It is absolutely amazing how it will give you a remedy. It will help you. And it's a fourth and fifth little ones. Okay, I guess, right, left or right foot, because that's going to come up as well. But let's just deep dive into this because, you know, moving beyond loss, any kind of loss, it's really important to understand that our body is talking to us. Our body actually is there to help us to heal. And all the emotions that keep coming up, it's about you learning how to deep dive into the emotion to figure out what it was. And because your emotions can't like pick up the phone and talk to you, they tell you things by the things that get hurt, the things that require healing. And then they deep dive into it. So let's run with this because this is going to be really exciting. Well, I find it exciting and I hope you do too. So good on you, Linda, but it's still in Melbourne. Okay. Stuck at home with 2 broken toes. I have low chronic back pain. Okay, Maxine, just wait a sec and I'll get to that because it is all about you understanding what's going on in your life and your body talks to you. So let's start with Linda. Left foot. Okay, toes. Let's see what it says. 120. Okay, it might not go into toes as much as what I would have liked it to, but we're just going with this. 120. Oh, yes, it does. Okay, left toe. Okay, so here we are. We can all see it, right? So left toe, left foot, fourth and fifth. Okay, the fourth toe says, you may experience feeling out of control and misunderstood, holding onto victim consciousness and why is this happening to me attitude. Belief that there is something wrong with you. Can't see a way out of a situation, feeling rejection, guilt, lack of boundaries. On a physical level, you may experience problems with, it's funny, lower back, spleen, intestines, and reproductive system. Is that true, Linda? Interesting that lower back comes up, and that's what Maxine's asking about. There are no coincidences in this world. It's really important for us to know and to understand that. Okay. The little toe. Okay. The little toe holds lack of appreciation, neglect, and self-criticism, feeling like a child who cannot please his or her angry parent. Belief that you can never do anything right, feeling fearful, threatened, betrayed, thinking, what's the point? I might as well give up. On a physical level, you may experience problems with your anus, bowels, large intestine, legs, immune system, and lower back. Okay, does that make sense with you, Linda? I won't be able to do that. Hope that resonates with you. Okay, let's go to Maxine for lower back pain. Let me see. I know it will go back 42. Okay. Lower back. Okay, are you ready, Maxine? This is for you. Feeling insecure about how you will support yourself financially. Constant worry about your survival and how you are going to pay the bills. Holding on to unresolved anger from childhood. Feeling like a victim, struggling, suffering, controlling. Focused on limitations and negativity. Why you can't do things instead of how you can. Does that make sense, Maxine? Does that help? Because there's a really, really great remedy in how to do this. If you reach out to me, Maxine, just PM me. I'll take a photo of it and I'll send it to you, because it goes on for a couple of pages, as you can see, which is a remedy. And it's important for us all to know. I'm really interested in why this shadow is happening. Really, really, every now and then. I don't know if you're noticing on my lower screen, but when I sort of lift things up. Oh, Maxine, my heartfelt condolences on that. But you can heal your life, and that's what this is all about. You really can heal your life and all the things that happen in your life, and it's about deep diving into it. And that's what I do. I help people to move beyond any kind of loss. And you know what? A loss of having a mother to comfort you, to be there for you, or for the loss of the fact that your dad's wife wasn't the mother that you required at that time. That's what I assist people to do. I assist people to deep dive into it and to come to it. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the gift of loss and my 5-step process on how you can do it. And, it's really is great. Everything I talk about, you can do. You don't require me to do it. Obviously, it can be quicker and it can be more guided when you have someone lovingly do it to you. But we are the master we are seeking, and everything in our life we can do. And it's really important for us to know that. So let's get started. That was a little diversion that I didn't expect. But that's what I love, about these shows is, sure, I have a guideline, but I just go with the flow. I just go the way that the guides are. Before I come on, I reach out to my guides, my guardian angels, my past loved ones, and everyone who is there to assist me. We all have them, but how often do we talk to them? How often do we ask for their guidance? How often do we, listen to what they're actually saying to us? And people go, oh, I just don't hear things and all that sort of stuff. And you do. You're just not listening. You're not taking the time to actually relax. And that's what we're going to go through today, because the process I'm about to share with you, it's a really good process, whether you're trying to move through any kind of loss or whether you're just trying to figure out what's going on in your life. You can follow this 5-step process, and it really does guide you. It's just amazing, and that's what it's like. Okay, Maxine, I highly suggest that you reach out to me. I'm happy to have a 30-minute conversation with you if you like. If not, that's fine as well. I'm not here to pressure anyone. But your dad's with you. You do know that, don't you? He is following you and he is guided. And are you looking for the signs? And I totally understand. You're probably also emotionally and spiritually drained as well, Maxine, not just physically and mentally. So it's important for you to honor you in this whole process. So often we, especially women, we are there for everyone else and we put ourselves last, and we wonder why we feel so depleted, why we feel just like, oh my God, it's such an effort just to get out of bed. And to be quite honest, I just want to stay here all day. I'm pretty sure most of us have been there, but one of the greatest realization I had, and it was probably about 6 months after my son Dan passed away over 10 years ago, was that I am the only person I am going to spend my entire life with. So let's sit on that for a moment, and let's just bring that into every single cells of our bodies. And you know what? Even say it out loud as I say it again, because it's really important for us to hear it, but to hear our voice saying it so we can feeling it in you, because I am the only person I am going to spend my entire life with. So why am I giving up on my hopes, dreams, and aspirations? Why am I putting myself last? Now, I really would love for you to really feel into that and to really start to ask yourself those questions. Why are you putting yourself last? Why aren't you honoring yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? Because you're important. You are the most important person in your life. You matter. And the more that we bring that in and the more that we really start to not only believe it, but to know it, that's how we can really begin to not only heal what has happened in our life so far, but it will also assist you to become the person that you came here to be. And we all came here to be someone, right? And when I say someone, it doesn't mean that we have to be this actor or this person in the public eye. Your reason for being here could be as simple as to enjoy life, to really enjoy life, to get past the fear, to get past the anger, the resentment, the grudges that we may be holding. It's all about us coming to love and gratitude and fulfillment and joy. That's what it's about. So thank you, Linda, and thank you, Maxine, for your comments. Hi, Jess. For a new beginning and everything has fallen apart. So I'm trying to process the next step. It only appears like it's all fallen apart, Jess. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe it's just a perspective shift that you require in your life. Maybe. Okay. I'm not saying it definitely is, but maybe. And this process that I'm about to share with you may assist you to deep dive in. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to share my email address, right? Oh, I'm on caps. So, more than happy to have a little conversation with anyone. Just email me and let me know that you saw me on this show, and then we can go from there. But it will be just a little conversation, okay? It's not going to be hours and hours and hours, just so that you're aware of that. It was really important. Okay, so let's get started. And here we are, nearly 20 minutes in. Don't you just love it when this happens? Okay, so let me, okay, so life is a constant journey from love to loss, okay? We all know how to do love. Not most of us know how to do loss. And that's what I assist people to do, to move from loss back into love. And I've got this amazing process, which is called the gift of loss. The gift of loss, which will assist you to move beyond any kind of loss and to be able to create your better everyday life. Guaranteed. Once you understand and you deep dive into this process and you know the ins and outs of it, you will use it for the rest of your life. So that your journey, you won't be in loss for as long. You will be very much quickly back along that infinity loop back to love. And you will stay in love a lot longer because of what you will learn from your loss. And believe me, there is always a gift in every single loss event that happens in your life. The problem is that we don't see it. We have this perspective that loss is bad and it's sad and it's really, really going to hurt me. But yeah, it may a little bit, but the gifts and the benefits that you will receive, right, will very much come to it. Just a sec, I will read what Kerry, feel like I have a huge roadblock in my life. Get a gut feeling something's just not right. Reach out, Kerry. Love to help you with that roadblock. That's what I love to do. So as I've said probably a few times now, there are over 40 different loss events that can affect our lives. That's huge, isn't it? The first time I read that, I went, no way. I went looking for a list. Couldn't really find it the way that I could, all over the place, but I then created my own and I actually even added some to the ones that I think. So I'd like you just to spend a couple of little minutes having a look at how many different loss events have already created in your life. You know, I do this all the time, obviously, and I think the most I've had is 21. The lady said, I'm 40 years old and I've had 21 of those loss events. And the thing is that we've never really been taught how to, process loss, how to deep dive into it, how to not go into avoidance over it. Let's face it, the world is full of avoidance tactics. We have created a world where we can avoid anything. We have we got to do is look at food, alcohol, drugs, anger management. What else? Job. We're so busy in our lives, working, working, working. What are we avoiding? Exactly. And that's what we know. One of the benefits from our pandemic that's been going on now for 18 months is the fact that we are actually not as busy running around doing things as what we were. And that's what's really helping people to heal. And it's also helping the world to heal at the same time. So have a look. Okay. So as I said, the gift of loss. And that's what I'm going to deep dive into today. It is a 5-step process. And I totally understand that most people go, Karen, how can you call your program the gift of loss? Like, one of your major loss events was the death of your son. How can you say that there was a gift in your son Dan passing? And I totally understand that perspective. And the thing is, the gift is not in the actual loss event, like, whether it's death, divorce, job loss, your health, your wealth, your pets, or any of the ones that came up in the 2020 pandemic. Things like loss of freedom, choice, status, identity, changing work conditions, recreational and social activities. Like the actual event, there is no gift. It's how you move beyond it. It's how you create your better everyday life because of this loss event. Now, you're not going to be the same after any loss, right? You're not going to go back to who you were. It's impossible, especially if if it's a death or a divorce. You're not going to go back to who you were the day before that happened. So it's about you saying, okay, my life is going to be different now. So how can I ensure that I can come back to love and joy and fulfillment and gratitude and abundance? That's what this is about, because you can. You can. And that's why I love this 5-step process. So the first step is to stop. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say I had this 5-step process long before we all went into COVID and lockdown and all those sort of things. So it's really important that I just find it so interesting that these 5 steps are really also an ideal way to work through anything that comes into your life. And let's face it, the pandemic has caused a huge amount of loss to all of our lives in all very many different ways. But the sooner that you stop, right? The sooner you stop, right? And not fight about, I want my life back, I want all of this. It's about you stopping, truly stopping. And maybe that is you actually closing the door and not going out for a couple of days, just being by yourself, not listening to other people's opinions about what's best for you. It's about you finding out what is best for you. And we're all individuals, right? We're all unique. No one else is the same as us. No one. We may have similarities with our friends, but no one has walked an inch in your shoes. No one knows what your life is about. No one knows what the relationship was that you have just lost. Be it a loved one, a divorce, a job loss. No one knows that relationship that you had, or the relationship that you had with your health, or your wealth, or your pets, or any of the other things that I've brought up that's on that list, on those 40 plus different loss events. So it's really important that you take the time to stop and figure out what is the best way forward to you. Now, the biggest problem, right? So, the biggest problem that most of us go through is that we're lost, right? So, we start asking people for advice. What would you do? What would I do? And when we do that, we get so many conflicting. They're all going to be conflicting, right? And that's why it's important for us to stop so that we can start to hear our inner guidance, our past loved ones, our guides, so that we can start to feel into not only the pain, but also the way forward. Because when we feel into our body and start to, as I did at the beginning of this, I held up this book to show you the secret language of our body. So when we stop, right, we can start to feel into our body. We can start to notice all of the little niggles that are going on in our life. We can start to really start to go, oh, has it always been like that? Like, have I always had that twinge there? Or have I always had this little feeling? Or when I actually do start to breathe into my body, our breath. Our breath is the most underutilized healing thing that we can do for ourselves. A conscious, loving breath where we just breathe really deeply and lovingly into our body, all the way down to our belly, where it sort of rises like a Buddha belly. That is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. But we've got to stop to do it because it's a conscious, loving breath. It's not an unconscious breath. It's we're consciously filling ourselves up with all of the love and all of the joy and all of the fulfillment that we require in this moment. So when we stop, we start to ask ourselves some amazing questions. And I'm a great believer that the quality of your life will always come back to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Because for every question, there is an answer waiting to be revealed. And for every answer, there is an action step waiting for you to take. And for every action step that you take, you move closer and closer and closer to where you will find that love and that fulfillment and that joy. And I can give you some questions, but the ideal is to start with those questions and then to build on them, to start to tap into you and to really tap into them. So some of the questions, I'll just read what Kerry's saying. This is what I forgot to do. Just stop and think to myself. I'm always helping everyone else and leaving myself empty. I need to do more things for me and find me again. You are so spot on, Kerry, but please don't beat yourself up over it because that's what most of us do. Most of us are so busy moving and running and avoiding. Helping others, it's an avoidance tactic. We may not think of it as that. We think we're doing the right thing. But, if someone else takes up all of your time and your energy, well, then you have an excuse not to do that deep dive into yourself. And it's important for us to understand that, as I said earlier, we are the most important person we are the only person we're going to spend our entire life with. So it's time for us to really start to make sure that we start to put ourselves first. Remember when we all used to catch planes? Remember the air hostess saying, in case of emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first. Well, your life, it's a daily exercise to ensure that you have some me time for yourself. It may be half an hour. It may be even an hour. And if you can't find half an hour in a day or an hour in a day, get up an hour earlier or watch TV less or look at your calendar and just say, wow, how much time am I wasting here? How can I ensure that I find this 30 minutes or 60 minutes for my me time, and label it, book it out in your calendar, book it out right now, go to your calendar, and for the next 7 days or the next month, ensure that you have time booked out and label it me time, my me time. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself, is create your me time. Okay, so the first question that you can ask yourself when you stop is, what does this mean for me now? What does this mean for me moving forward? And answer those questions. And another thing that you can really also do is you can start to say, what are the things that I want to stop doing? What are the things I want to start doing? And what are the things I want to keep doing? Because I'm pretty sure that in all of our lives, we all have a lot of things that we don't even know why we do it. In my corporate life, one of my pet's hates was when I would ask someone, why do you do that? And they'll go, because we've always done it. And I'm going, no. Why do you do it? And their answer is going, because we've always done it. And I'm going, no. I'm trying to understand why you do it. And they're going, no, you don't understand my answer. I'm telling you, we've always done it, and that's why I do it. And then eventually they would go, oh, okay, you want us to figure out the benefits of me doing this. And I'm going, yeah. Like, does it really need to be done? Or does it need to be done that way? Or is there a better way we can do it? Because that's the thing that we start to ask ourselves when we stop. Okay, now that's the first one. Right, let's move on to the second one. Now, the second one is to accept. Okay, now in the Kubler-Ross 5 Stages of Grief, right? She lists out all of these different things that we do when we lost. And she mainly talks about loss of a loved one. And what happens is the final stage is accept. But we go through all of these different emotions in and out, and they don't always come in the same order, and you may go in and out of a whole lot of different ones. But acceptance is their fifth one. Now, acceptance is the second one on this, because you've got to stop first in order to ask yourself those questions and then to come to acceptance. So what is accept all about? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if it's your divorce, sure, let's work on divorce. It may be good or it may not be good. But accept is all about you also taking responsibility for what has happened. So loss is all about an end of a relationship. And it's really important for us to understand that there's 3 aspects of every relationship. Okay? The first one is the physical. Now, the physical is the way that we hang out together, the things we do, the things we say, the way we touch each other. Okay? And the second stage, or second aspect of it, is our emotional. Now, the emotional part of the relationship is all encompassing: the good, the bad, the glad, and the sad. And then the third aspect is the spiritual. Now, the spiritual is the intangible, right? We know we're connected. We're not really sure why we're so connected, but we just know that we are. And through that connection, have you ever instantly walked in and met someone and you feel like you've known them forever? Or have you been to a place where you just go, oh my God, I know this place. I know exactly where to go. And it's just amazing. That happened to me when I went to Mykonos back in 2007. And if you've ever been to Mykonos, there's a whole lot of little alleys that go sort of all over the place. And here I was meandering around. And I said to my kids, I've been here before. And they go, oh, you keep getting us lost. And I said, I am not. But anyway, I was just walking. I just knew exactly where to go. And that was a spiritual connection. Like I just knew spiritually I had been there, not in this lifetime, in other lifetimes. And whether you believe that or not, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's the three. So when the loss event occurs, it's only the physical aspect of your relationship that has ended. The emotional and the spiritual will live on forever. And it's the emotional part that causes us all of the pain and suffering, because there are so many parts to it. It could be the things that you did or didn't do, the things that you said or didn't say, things they did and didn't do or didn't say or said. So there's so many aspects of it, right? So it's about you taking responsibility for your part of it. And that's a huge part of acceptance. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a thing. Nice to see you here, Lily. I'm glad you just found us. Welcome. And Maxine, now's maybe the time for you to start doing everything for you. And then when you have time, bring it in. And the quickest way to say that is to say no. Okay? No. Don't let your, oh my God, what am I going to do? The whole lot of it. Just say no. Okay? No. When anyone asks you to do something, no. Don't say no because I have this on. Just say no. And the reason you only say no is because if you give all these excuses why it's no, they will actually come back to you and they will say, they'll alter their request. So we don't want that. Okay. So now with acceptance, right? In every relationship, you have all these hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And it's really important for you to understand that through acceptance, you will know you will list out what all these hopes, dreams, and aspirations were. And you will come to an acceptance that they're not going to happen the way you planned. They can still happen, which comes up in the next stage, but just differently to the way you planned. And it's really important for you to understand that, because part of acceptance, or why people find it really hard to accept, is the fact that all of these hopes, dreams have gone away with this loss event that has occurred, whatever it is, whether it was your loved one passing, or whether it was a divorce, or whether it was your job loss, or any of them. It's really important that when we come into that acceptance stage, we start to do that deep dive, which leads us beautifully to our identify stage. I love identify. Identify is where we really do start to deep dive into the relationship and both sides of the relationship. And we identify all of those things that we wish we hadn't have said, or we wish that we hadn't have done, and we wish that they hadn't done these things. It really is a deep dive into the relationship, an honest deep dive into it. So often when people pass, we tend to either demonize them or we tend to make them into angelic angels, and we tend to forget about the real day-to-day person that, every time we met them. Because let's face it, we all have little things about us that people don't like, and as much as we don't want to admit it, and so does everyone else. So it's important for you, when you identify, you actually come up with facts, right? You're also going to deep dive into and identify what all of these hopes, dreams, and aspirations were. Because not only are you going to identify the way that you had planned them for this long-term relationship that you thought you were going to have, it's also about you identifying what stopped you from doing them. What was the reason that you kept putting off that trip? Like, if you look at COVID, right? How many people were like, oh yeah, one day I'll go and visit that place. I've always wanted to go there. Then all of a sudden, that one day was sort of taken away from you, because no one really knows when our international travel, or even, our domestic travel, is going to open up, where it stays opened up. So it's really important to you identify, was it fear that stopped me from doing it? Was it money? Or what was the real reason why I didn't do it? Because the more that you deep dive and you find the answers to these questions, the easier it will become for you to be able to do step 5 in this beautiful gift of loss process that we're discussing. So identify takes a while, and that's one of my favorite parts in assisting people, because I have a completely different perspective. And because I'm not like living it day to day, I can not only see things differently, I can also ask different sort of questions, which will help you to deep dive in and to identify more. Because the more that we get to the core of everything that has come up and all of the emotions that are coming up, we will identify what this emotion means and how you can heal it. And it's absolutely beautiful. I have this beautiful process, which is called a conscious alignment. And it really does help you to deep dive in and find all those unconscious things that are, and bring them to the conscious. It's just absolutely amazing process that we do through the identify stage. And then from also what we do is that we then move on to the complete. So a part of the complete stage is we gather all of the information that we have brought together from stop, accept, and identify. And we start to put them into different little categories so that you can complete the relationship. Now, what do I mean by complete? Okay. So as I said, the physical relationship has ended, but the emotional and the spiritual lives on forever. And because we haven't really, most times, we don't deep dive into the emotions, and we don't come up with all of the answers that we're going to come up with. Through the first 3 steps, is we then are going to look at them, and we're going to put them into 3 different categories. The first one are things that you would like to apologize for. The second one is things that you'd like to forgive. And then the third thing is things that you'd like to acknowledge, right? So this is what helps you to complete the relationship, because we're going to formally put it into a letter. We're never going to send it to the person if they're alive. If they're passed, they are in a state of love, unconditional love. So they're going to be more than ready to hear it, and they'll probably do their own little sending of love and forgiveness to you, and all of these beautiful things, which you will feel through this process. And then it's really important that you actually make sure that everything is in there. Now, this is not going to stop you from being sad, but it's going to stop you from being in grief. It's going to stop you from grieving. It's going to stop you from never being able to mention their name, sort of thing. Now, obviously, I talk about my son all the time, but I still do have days where I do get sad. His twin brother and his older brother are married and having their children, and, doing all those things, which I would have loved for him. So that's a sadness, but that's not a grief. And, there will be some things where I just think, oh, got to be good if Dan was here, add into the conversation his unique and different sort of perspective and sense of humor and all those sort of things. And sure, he's there, but he's not physically there. So that's what I mean when about complete, right? And the beautiful thing about it is once you do this for one past loss event, and we all have multiple, you saw the fact that there's over 40 different loss events. So it's really important that we understand this 5-step process. And then once we've completed that, we then move on to the fun part. And the fun part is the pivot stage. And the pivot stage is where we start to really deep dive into our lives, into all of our life, all areas of our life. And in the Chaston Center model, there is over 9 areas of our life, and we deep dive into it, and we really start to see where we are now and where we want to be. And what are the action steps required to take us from where we are now to where we want to be? And I discussed that last week on this show. So if you want to deep dive into what the pivot stage is like, go back and have a look at last week's one, because it's really important for us all to know that we are not just one life. We have so many different lives. If think back, how many hats do you wear in one day, right? You could be a parent, a companion, a colleague, so many different roles that we all play in one day. So that's what when I say when we deep dive into us, but also the most important person in your life is you. And that's where we deep dive into you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, because it's really important. So that was a whole lot. Is there any other questions? Nice. Thank you, everyone who has been sharing this and inviting other people to join us. So glad that you sort of came here. I assume that's, I'm not sure, Sono Thando. Sono Thurdo. I'm not really sure that's how you say your name, but I apologise. Snothando, probably is not right, but anyway, welcome. I'm not sure if you're emailing someone else or whether you're actually saying good morning, but yeah, okay. So this is a whole lot of stuff, right? And as I said, I've put my email here. Would love for you to reach out if that's what you'd like to do, to have a quick 20-30 minute chat or not. One of the greatest things that I do love to do each week is share my Revitalize Your Life program. Now, what I found was a lot of people really are so lost. They don't know who they are. They don't know the way forward because so much has happened in their life, and they are struggling with the best way forward. They're doing everything for everyone else, and they're putting themselves last, and they're just totally lost on their pathway, of life. So what I did was I created this 45-day series where each day you will be sent into your own little special area, but I'll email you to let you know it's loaded. You'll be sent a different activity. So each day you do a different activity, and they take no more than 45 minutes each day. But what it is, it's all about you reconnecting to you so that you can revitalize your life, so that you do have this clear, a clarity on the way forward for you and the best way forward for you. And that's what I love about this more than anything else. So because I understand that most people are like, oh, I'm not really sure, is it the right thing for me? I purposely made it $1 a day. So for 45 days, which is $1 a day, so for a total of $45 investment, yes, you heard what? It's not a $45 a day investment. It's a $45 total investment for you to start to reconnect to you. Because what I've found is when you reconnect to you, that's when you're ready to start to move beyond everything that has happened in your life, and you're ready to really go through that gift of loss process so that you can really start to find you. So here is, let me go back. Went too far. Isn't it annoying? Here, I can go back here. Okay, so what I've found is that, let me just paste it here. So that's the link so that you can check it out. As I said, it is $45 in total, not $45 a day. And here is the link that I've just posted also into the comments. So you can just click on that and go straight there. So what difference will this make in your life? Well, you will have the clarity. So when you invest in the Revitalize Your Life, you will have the clarity on where to go, how to move forward, what to do next. You'll be literally reconnected to you, because we do things like you matter, your time matters, your energy matters, your health matters. We just deep dive into you so that you can start to really realize that you are the most important person in your life. You know, life is funny. It really does have a habit of making us smaller than who we are, making us not as ideal. You know what I mean? We just sort of lose our identity. And that's one thing that comes up every single time I work one-on-one with someone, is that, you know, they've lost who they are. They, you know, a little bit's chipped away from their parents. You can't do that. Who do you think you are? Why are you doing that? There's no way you could ever do that as a career. Who do you think you are? So we just start to lose a little bit of this and a little bit of that and all that sort of stuff. To the stage where when someone does leave us, you know, or we lose our job or whatever it is, we really do start to go, well, I'm no one without them. I don't know who I am without my job. I don't know who I am without that person in my life, you know, be it your partner who has, you know, through divorce or through job or what it is. And I don't know who I am if I'm not healthy. I don't know who I am without this money that I've just lost. So that's what it's about. Okay. Any questions? I'm going to have a sip while I'm waiting for some questions to come through. I've really enjoyed, you know, chatting with everyone. I'd like to thank you all for playing with me today and commenting, because it really does make it so great. Okay. Right. Any more questions? That's the thing that I love, is the questions. So Kerry, as we said, when we, you know, I'm just going to put Kerry's little comment up, because it's really important for us all to understand it. This is what I forgot to do, to just stop and think to myself, I'm always helping everyone else and leaving myself empty. I need to do more things for me and find me again. Thank you, Kerry, for writing that, because as I said when I read it earlier, that's what most people do, especially women. We do tend to put ourselves last, and then we wonder why. We're in resentment. We're not healthy. We're not looking after ourselves. Really important for you to actually understand that that is really common in most people's lives. And it doesn't have to be that way. The funny thing is that the more time you make for yourself, the more energy you will have for everyone else, and you won't be in resentment. You'll be in joy and happiness and love, and you have that vitality, which is why Revitalize Your Life is so important. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to leave you. So any more questions? Thank you, Maxine. Thank you for being here and playing with me today. Join me next week. If you're in Queensland, next week it'll be an hour earlier, because it's our times are on Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. So normally it is at noon. But next week, because of daylight saving, it will be 11 a.m. in Queensland. So I look forward, even though it's a public holiday, I will be here. So thank you, everyone. And as always, take time to stop, to deep dive into you, because you are important and you do matter. So Oh, good, Maxine. I'm in Queensland. I'm on the Gold Coast. So I will see you all then at 11 a.m. next Monday. And remember to make your week meaningful, memorable, and magical. Bye.